Good evening. You're listening live to the Xtreme Movie Show. I am your host, Rob, broadcasting from the Pine Hills Palace, just west of Orlando, Florida. I'm in the Xtreme Studios talking with RDV from the Great Midwest. We are arguing backstage about what the line is for tonight to see if there's any smart action on the Super Bowl. I've got Seahawks going big, pretty much like almost everybody else does here, too. But RDV, this brings up, the biggest thing here on Super Bowl Sunday night that's pretty interesting. That's the fact that nobody gives a shit. It's by far the worst produced Super Bowl of all time. Advertising. I'll let people fill in the reasons why. And how is this
Yeah.
pertinent to tonight's season finale, season 2, episode 8 of Fallout? It's this. I'm often thought here in Florida of Ponce de Leon searching for the fountain of youth. And when he landed on shore and saw all the bright citrus and all the friendly fish and said, I'm going to burn all the boats so we can never go back. And perhaps that was Cortez.
Mm-hmm.
The point is when you do that, you're like, oh shit, we're going to have to go out with a bang. What does this episode do? I think it ends out with a whimper. I hate to say
it sets up that there's going to be more problems for the next season, which we kind of knew in the middle of the episode.
Yep.
Probably the best thing about this episode is confirmed. We're getting more Macaulay Culkin next season.
Yeah, just what nobody wanted.
Macaulay Culkin being a bloodthirsty guy and just stab people. I think him being in charge will lead down to basically more of a bigger, badder villain. They're only like I said. Now this show does suffer though from the one thing that Tulsa King does. The bad guys go out with a whimper.
Yes.
And Kyle MacLachlan in perfect example. But he gets the last laugh though, I guess you say.
Yeah, it's so. We were introduced to the several episodes ago. We're like, oh, we call it the Home Alone episode where we see him. And we're like, this is kind of goofy. And I remember,
Macaulay Culkin under
Yeah.
Legion. There's a Legion, Caesar's or
Caesar
Kaiser, as they call him. Yeah, basically in the Fort Law. Yeah, the Legion is like a very formidable foe against the Brotherhood of Steel. And what we saw in this season was the Brotherhood of Steel was basically in shambles. So right now, what I want to see is the Brotherhood of Steel next season also come up, see as more of a threat too now. After everything that basically Moisés did, because Legion was also basically in just like shambles too. But at the end,
was a limp dick.
Yeah,
they were.
But at the end, though, the limp dick is kicked out of the party, and then we get Macaulay Culkin as the hard dick.
Look, I like the idea of Macaulay basically they're in the middle of the battle, and then he's dragging a body inside, and there's a note on there, and it's supposed to be like, okay, this person's going to be a successor, and it's not supposed to be any. It's supposed to die with him or whatever. But like anybody else who's got the information ahead of time, it's like front running your trades. I'm looking at you, Fidelity, where I couldn't place my order this past weekend. Macaulay just kind of like balls up, tells the guy nothing. He just puts the crown on there, but he cheers him, and he goes, we're going to go to Las Vegas. We're going to take it over. And it's going to be, get this. This is supposed to be funny, but it fell flat to me. And this is when I went, uh-oh. Caesar's Palace.
Yeah. Because basically, yes, it's the type of humor we've had. It's called dad jokes.
Dad jokes are better.
No. So basically, if you haven't been following, Macaulay Culkin was part of the Legion. The Legion was separated in two because the last Caesar he died. And he was strung up in the middle between these two warring factions because they didn't know who was going to be the next Caesar. And Macaulay Culkin, basically at this point in the first episode, or it was episode 3, was profligate episode. And because of Lucy managed to help them get the body down and stuff, at least, when she left. So they erupted in a war. And so he grabs the body in the middle of this, Macaulay Culkin grabs the body, drags it into a tent, and then he basically looks inside and grabs a note because that's, okay, who's going to be the next Caesar? They didn't realize the guy said, Caesar dies with this. There is no more Caesar. So he basically, which is really weird though, writing, is that he puts the note in his mouth and chews it instead of just putting it in the fire and burning it.
Details.
Yes, but the guy comes in and he's like, oh, it's like, what do we do? He's like, and like, so he stabs the guy in the gut so he couldn't even know witnesses, grabs the crown off the dead Caesar's body, comes out and unifies them, And yeah, he makes the joke about, we're going to go to Vegas because New Vegas is a threat to them. And they're going to retake it and take call it Kaiser's Palace. Yes, that was the joke. I laughed right. I got a chuckle out of it. Like I said, I'm not expecting a top notch like comedy and stuff. So it kind of fit with the whole entire thing. Because you look at this, it's silly that there's even a bunch of people who have lost their history and are worshiping Kaiser and not Caesar. So it's stupid satire humor.
Mhm.
This is basically idiocracy. That's what this whole Fallout's been based off of. If you think about it, in the future, when you don't have the history text, people are dumbed down. People don't know things, so they know a few facts. So, and it's survival of the fittest. So, the Legion now are going to be ruled by Macaulay Culkin, and he's going to be an enemy in the next season, or we so we're led to believe. We don't know. Lucy is with her dad, and her dad basically, after she basically, we find out that Diana, who was like the congresswoman,
Yes.
her head was hooked up, and she was controlling all the people in there. And
I love a disembodied head like this.
Yes.
And did you hear what she was saying to her?
Kill me.
Kill me, kill me. That was kind of funny. I did pop a little bit for that.
and I love it because Lucy's like, what the hell is everyone wanting me to kill everything all the time? So she finally gets angry enough and hits the head with the crowbar, stops the tape recorder machines around her computers, and then eventually she goes out, and then she's confronted by her dad. You get this look over the giant facility, how big this is. This is like it's almost like an Amazon with or Mall of America with with 7 levels or 12 or 8 levels.
Yep. Almost like a nuclear silo.
Yeah, pretty much. And just how much room it was in there down there. And her dad confronts her, along with another former Legion guy who's under control, and he says, "I basically perfected the whole entire thing. I got miniaturization now. He's finally got the thing." And he says, Lucy, it's like, you're gonna be my perfect little girl again. But of course, there's also what's going on outside in Vegas. We saw at the last episode, we had Mulder Gargan's character, Art Cooper, who basically had revived Robert House. And he basically says, like, hey, if you want to get into your facility with your family and stuff, you're going to have to wear this. And he gives him a Pip Boy. And he says, like, when I was originally building the vault tech thing there, they wanted down there, I built a back door in. But what the problem is that because of you, and you're, he's referring back to the flashbacks, him giving the what do you call it, the drive thing or the fusion core, giving it to the president, it's revealed that the president is part of a secret enclave.
I'm shocked, I tell you.
So who we remember what we said? We had Ron Perlman was the voice of the super mutant. I think the president's going to turn out to be a super mutant as well.
I didn't really think of it that way. I just assumed there wouldn't be any presidents, but I mean, if they could do something,
because they're the ones that are behind everything. They're the ones that probably launched the bomb. Was the president?
The way people write about America today, I think they probably just wanted to just say, yeah, let's let America self implode.
Like I don't know if this was the Orange Man bad reference, But
I'm not trying to introduce.
I know, but like some people
right?
would grasp at straws, say, "Oh yeah, it's allegory. It's supposed to be Trump. Trump's gonna drop nukes and everything, blah blah." And like, no, it's take away from reality what's going on in real life. And this game, has always been like corrupt individuals. What? And then you know what? Because they're white means nothing. Because majority of Americans are white. It's sorry.
I think the idea of Fallout was to not necessarily have a specific answer to it, because that's not really relevant for what the show and the games are supposed to be, which is the exploration of the wasteland.
People get upset when they have the white man, evil corporation or whatever, or government. And this, like I said, this is kind of what you're going to have people who are going to infiltrate, your government or whatever, something, and turn something bad or something good into something bad. It just happens to be that way all the time. That's your whole conspiracy theory thing. And it's great TV, great movie. But overall, though, like I said, like it's with the Legion coming in now and Lucy pretty much being saved by Walter Goggins' character and her putting the chip on her dad, you know, and he activates, you know, where he's like, well, I'm gonna activate, you know, you don't know what his real plan is. They're sitting outside the Vegas thing, the Penny, Lucky 38, and basically it was hilarious because the fact that he's like, you know, he's like, I'm not gonna tell you my real plan. Instead, he has his own remote and he self-sacrifices himself because he knows it's gonna continue on regardless. He's already set in the motion before. But the really, and I love this because I was trying to figure out what's going on with Stephanie. I love this in the flashback because when Cooper and his wife were walking out after, you know, and he had just given the core drive to the president. They're getting ready to leave, and the phones are ringing. But before that, though, they come across Hank. He's awake now, and guess who he's engaged to? Stephanie. You know, it's saying how they talk for hours and hours. Now that so like, so now it makes sense because I was like, because I think Hank, because we saw clips in the past, Hank pretty much was it says,
Daddy.
I'm gonna do something, you know, that the bosses could never do. I'm gonna show them. I think Hank might have. My theory was that Hank was basically a loose cannon, and Hank wasn't really part of the Vault-Tec thing. He was probably going to give the device maybe to the president. We don't know, but I don't think he actually was. You know, I think he has had his own scheme this whole entire time. That was my thought process with that, and this happened to work out. You know, that he and Stephanie were going to agree to work together. They could help each other mutually. And then my other thought was like, ooh, what if Lucy's mom actually or wasn't really like, you know, what we saw in the first season? What if Stephanie's her mom? Wouldn't that be weird?
Yeah, and they're trying to make all these things interesting. And again, the disappointing thing here, and kind of interspersed with some of these lines here, of course, is the whole Max and Thad kind of going against the Death Claws. And you know what? When we first got to Whisper of the Death Claws, and you mentioned you want to see a big bad, we got a tease of it. Then we got the breath. Then we got it. So we're like, okay. And then they were big. And then, of course, we felt let down, or at least I did, because it was at night with the CGI and the practical. And then
it was more, it was a short, for me, it wasn't that. It wasn't because it wasn't bad as Godzilla, like you said, they just show a foot. What a problem was is that they snuck out of there and then there was no fight. This episode, we get an actual fight scene with her.
And my point being is as initially early on, we got teased into that and disappointed because of no fight. The more I thought they showed the Death Claws here, honestly, even though it was during the day, I thought the idea of them and the threat of them and everything that you mentioned, as you know, as far as the game when we were talking about at the beginning of the season, I thought it got worse and worse and worse. And Max looking like he's crying and pooping his pants the entire time doesn't help things. But the Death Claws, it just looked really moronic and stupid. Like, I'm like, what's happening here? Are they going to surround him and he's got to come up with something? You know, there was no flow to it. It was just cut scenes of this and that and him stumbling and this and that. It was by far one of the worst action sequences I've seen in quite some time.
Disagree, because he's not a warrior. He's a stupid kid that joined the service. He's not a proud warrior. He barely knows how to use the mech suit as it is, and he's stumbling against these creatures, and these creatures coming out, and the mech suit he's using is not even working. It's faulty. All the weapons are aligned. Finally, when the weapons come on, he's able to take out a few of them. Yeah. But then, of course, it basically gets damaged again, and he's there. And the Death Claws in the game, the reason I said they're deadly is the fact that they take a lot of hits. And you don't usually have a grenade launcher and all that stuff to take them out. Most of the time, you only have small firearms, you know, or if you have a mech suit, it gives you an upper hand. But even then, you still take a lot of damage from them.
Well, the one thing that was funny that I thought they did very well in this episode, we were talking about humor, and humor does not always 100% hit. And sometimes it just depends whether it's game humor, smart humor, inside joke humor, or modern pop culture humor and interjected in the current episode. But when they are out there fighting and they were cutting to, was it Thad bringing everybody inside, him going up there and trying to use the sniper rifle with his foot, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But the people inside going, I got 25 to 1 the Death Claws are going to kill him. And so they're taking all the best, and then they come back.
Then they realize, like,
yeah, that's what the lady says. Yeah, well, wait a minute. If they win, we're probably all going to die. That was kind of funny.
What I liked about this, because he finally, his suit is so damaged he gets out, that's when it triggers the guy in there realizes, like, hey, is this a kid? I thought it was adult, because they don't really give a shit about the Brotherhood of Steel. They've always, probably they probably were oppressed by them. Who knows?
Mhm.
They're not really known to be nice people. So I like this. So we get the guy, finally get to see the sniper at the end of this. He grabs his 50 cal up there. He's on the roof, and he saves actually Moisés, from this, and by using a 50 cal, and we get to see the VATS finally, slow motion and fire from the rifle, taking out the death claw by shooting it in an eye. It's a high caliber rifle, so it can do damage to that, to the character or the monster. But for the most part, like I said, like, yeah, it played out pretty well for what we're getting. Had it been like, say, he would have just like taken them out one by one and just been like a Mary Sue, that would have been worse. That's I'm so glad that he wasn't a proficient fighter. He was just a kid inside a suit thinking like, oh, I could do this, and then he starts panicking because he's overwhelmed.
Yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't like it. I didn't think it worked well, and what I meant really more was about the use of CGI,
The
because
CGI looks fine to me though.
but they looked smaller. They didn't look big. They didn't sound as intimidating, and it was just I don't know. I
Had
just
it
felt
been
like,
like
I felt
at
like they did
nighttime,
it. They felt compelled to do it because they haven't
yeah.
really done it for 2 seasons. We've seen like 0, maybe 5, 10% of the wasteland and the problems that you can have in there that reminds us of the game. And that's kind of like the theme I had at the beginning of the season. And this episode, to me, like I say, I don't think they did themselves any good at all as far as trying to go out with a banger. Let us remind us viewers of things that we should be paying attention to. And one other example of that too is, where are they at? They're supposed to be in Vegas. Did at any point in the season it felt like they were in Vegas? And I mean, of course,
Well,
Vegas.
it's a
No,
rundown
not at
Vegas.
all.
It looked more like a boom town.
Well,
And
Side, I think, is the town that they kind of in and all that. There were some nice set pieces, but it just didn't feel like it was important. It could have
it's
been
also
anywhere.
for Las Vegas. Their Vegas is from the 1950s. Fallout is different from our Vegas.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
And even the Vegas now, people wouldn't be saying
and
it.
we don't know how much was destroyed by the blast taking it out. So we don't know how much because a lot of it looks like you got it looks like a third world country. You have the tin roofs and stuff, metal overboards. It looks
Mhm.
like they're in Venezuela or something like that, a poor town on the coast. So,
What's that line from the Bruce Lee film? It was Enter the Dragon, and it's oh god, it's the black guy, where he says something along the lines of man, all these towns look the same. Well, what do you mean? Ghetto's a ghetto anywhere in the world.
yeah.
I mean, it's true, right?
So, like I said, it looked like a shack town, a boom town, back in the
Yeah.
1950s. It wasn't that really built up as well. And the only tower that was really standing, of course, was Robert's, because his was probably made better. Who knows? The guy was freaky, wanted to live forever.
Well, you had mentioned before a few episodes about how you were comparing one of the shots of something that you like to how in not Tulsa King, even though it's a Taylor Sheridan show, but Landman, how they do a great job with transition shots of setting up what you're going to be talking about. Like if there's going to be a meeting in downtown Texas or whatever, Grapevine or wherever they're at,
Mm-hmm.
they show some quick scenes and all that too, or you get some Brady voiceover. Now you feel like you're in it when they're walking around because of the buildings. You feel like you're in there. This show doesn't do it. It shows them.
When
It cuts to them like walking on the road, and you go, "Where are they at?" Oh yeah, I think I might see something in the back, but nothing that's like a Vegas icon
so,
or whatever.
well, yeah, you're not gonna get. Here's the thing: they probably don't have the rights to show a lot of the stuff.
If they wanted to do it, they
For
could
television
do
stuff. But then again, it's their own little world. Maybe they didn't want to show that version of Vegas. They're showing their own Vegas.
it. Man, but when you're in a game playing it, you're like, man, Vegas.
Like you're expecting
all
like
the way down
a
from here all the way to there, and you
like
get it.
you're expecting a Bucky's, but instead you get like a Circle K.
Oh, man, the Southerners would love you to have heard you say that. Jesus, yeah. No, it's interesting because I thought, okay, it was a little bit more clear the last episode in this one of what they're trying to focus on, and we had saw where the ghoul and Ella had been kind of departed, and they kind of meet up here because he's going into the vault. He strikes a deal with the AI, as it were,
Robert. Yeah, Robert's personality construct. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, and so you know that's going to go wrong next season. And of course, the house always wins now because he's got the bit boy. And he makes the comment about, well, everybody ends up working for me at some point. It's like,
you're
okay.
roboting a little bit. Like you're a little metallic, bro. You're like Robo Rob right now.
You were as well, sir.
Yep. I've been fine the whole time. It's just funny you say AI and you sound just like the AI. But you sound better now.
Thank you.
Yes. Just got that AI sneeze out. No. We fixed the glitch. He's back to normal. All right. Overall episode, I'd say for a season finale for this show, it's kind of on par with what I thought we're gonna get. Because they want us up for another third season, but there isn't. The only thing we see at the very end is that Stephanie basically like, I'm Stephanie, whatever last name, and I'm initiating, phase 2. We cut back to where dog meat was stolen from Joshua from that facility, the research facility, and you hear Hank's place played over there, and you also hear her voice on the recording and the computer, and it says phase 2 received and initiated. So phase 2, I'm not really sure what phase 2 is going to be, but I'm guessing they're gonna go. But the people who already under control are gonna go out and put more people under the chips. Maybe that's phase 2. Because
here's what phase 2 is, honestly, and this has nothing to do with the game. Phase 2 is the writers going, hey, I got a year and a half before we have to come up with any shit for 8 fucking hours, less than that, of writing, and they're going to do it abysmally, just like they've done these first 2 seasons. This season had absolutely no momentum. It had no feeling going towards anywhere. They spent another season just trying to introduce a few things here and there, and some we're going to care about, some we're not, but most of it we could give 2 shits about, and the juggling of A, B, C, D, and E storylines and characters we don't care about. And the worst part of it, too, which really went out on a limp dick note, too, was when Max meets up with her at the end, like they're going to be the legacy of her or whatever. And they just do the thing where they briefly hold hands. Oh, because you're a nice person. I'm like, I get if you want to be inclusive. I get if you want to try and do it. But it's just, we've seen people can say, oh, this is phenomenal writing on his part because he was a coward. He did this. Now he did this. So it's the redemption arc, and I believe in it.
Yeah.
Just watching the guy's face, I can't fucking stand looking at him. And he still does not act heroic. And I know he's not supposed to be, and he's trying to be, but it doesn't make it work.
So we do get some stuff, at the end of the post-credits. See, there's Area 51. Where basically you see the Brother Steel members are now seen fighting in bombardment and can hear her outside. Dane walks in, Dane being the girl who thinks she's a boy. Sorry, I'm not going to play that game. Walks through before knocking down on the door in Quinta's office. Guards question him, but then shows a blueprint, and then they let him inside. And then basically Dane asks what this is. Quinta says he tried to unify the Brotherhood, but Quinta's unifier is now dead, and Quinta's destroyer has been born. And the blueprints reveal to be for Liberty Prime Alpha. Liberty Prime Alpha is Mark II, is a giant combat robot that was in the Fallout games. It's huge. It's about tall as probably tall as a tower they're standing in. So it's almost like a Megazord.
Again,
yeah.
And I'm so like an asshole saying this. Who cares? We're left to go. How is this exciting going to season 3? There's been no resolution to anything because nothing's happened this season. So there's been no, building up to something and then something else happening or whatever. They're just trying to tag something else to make us think they're planning ahead for the next season. When they're not. They're like, oh, we'll put this here at the end so people can.
Well, as someone who likes the show more than you, I actually am looking forward to more of that stuff. I want to know more about phase 2. I want Norm Red goes in there and gets Claudia, who's unconscious. I love this. Basically, Norm was about to get killed by the rest of the group in there, and Claudia tried to stop him, but they push Norm. He hits his head on the elevator button going down or up, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then of course what we learned from a couple of episodes that there was roaches. They're in that hotel.
The rad roaches, yeah.
They come out and they start attacking everybody. and Claudia gets put in the room there, but they won't let him in. So Norm stops by. He gets knocked out over there. Not knocked out, but knocked down. Hangs by a chair. The Roaches make their way first, then kill everybody. And he goes in after Norm gets up. He goes in there. She's like, Claudia's still alive. She had basically killed a roach with a screwdriver. And he pulls her out. So I want to know what was going on with Norm and Claudia.
Now here's the thing. Let me use that example there to kind of explain what you're saying about the show and me. I thought the whole Rad Roach thing there too, because they were going to whack him, was kind of interesting. The execution of them all like flying in, and somehow he manages to go underneath the table, and even though they're all running into the room that they won't let him in at, it's miraculous that all of them manage to fly in there, and he accidentally closes it, and that's good enough to kill them all. Absolutely dog shit story writing. However, what you just said there about her at the end managed to have done it herself. She's done something. She's overcome. Now you're like, okay, these are two people that are interesting. Maybe they're going to be like a cute couple or something like that. You've got something invested in them to watch them go forward. You know, it's a shame it's taken 2 seasons to get to this point to give, half a rat's ass about something going on here, because sometimes we don't see somebody for a couple episodes. I mean, let's be honest. Did you really think you'd see Macaulay Culkin again? I didn't. And now he's probably going to be a main player. In addition to whatever's going on with this Liberty Prime mechanism in the next season.
The Legion, I said that they're going to bring the Legion back, so I had a feeling that the Legion was going to be a one-off. Because it seems like they really want to amp up as far as, like, we got the Enclave, so we got the Legion, now we get the Brothers Stood here still. They're confirming that they're going to be, again, probably coming to a head in Season 3. The Enclave, basically, the President being part of the Enclave, and gets he's the one that had Cooper arrested by the un-American, agents, being basically saying he's a traitor, he's a spy, a commie, whatever, the red thing. So they're able to arrest him with that. But it said, I want to know basically what's going on at the Enclave Research Colony, because they're the ones that got Phase 2. That's what that facility was. That's the Enclave, and I'm curious to see, what it's going to be the result of that, because going forward, I mean, because that could be also a problem threat too. We don't know about that. And but they're experimenting with more dog meats. Do you think we'll have more dog meats coming?
No, because they haven't done anything with this one. That being said, they're stupid enough to maybe do something like it. But I was trying to think of the factions, because there's plenty of them in the games. And I think in the Fallout 4, the one that I recall is that there's one called the Institute. And so, basically, you go through, do your stuff, interact, whatever like that. But at some point, based off the decisions you make and who you interact with or do quests from that you pass or fail them, or for however that plays out, you get drawn towards where you're going to have to pick, like, basically one of like 4, 5, 6 endings, right? So basically, you would have like a Legion Fallout. Basically, no matter what you do and all these things, at some point, if what you did was slightly in favor of the Legion, you have an ending that fits the Legion, and then you have one that would do the other factions, right? But this Institute one was kind of like a little kind of secret thing or whatever, and so you find yourself in the middle of that. It was kind of interesting because, again, choices mean things and have consequences in a game, and it feels like you're leaning towards something. I don't know or recall if they've even introduced them, and maybe they've referenced them a little bit, but there's not really been a lot of exploring of the world. And if they're gonna put in this new battle thing that you're saying, okay, that's fine, but there's still creatures they don't have that they could put in, and locations. I mean, there's no shortage of stuff to draw upon, if that makes sense.
We have the Enclave, we have the Brother Seal, we have the Legion, we have the NCR. And then whatever Phase 2 is going to be. So they still got a lot to draw from if they want to.
Well, I think it was over a year since the Season 1 ended, when Season 2 came. I didn't really look that up. I know it was more than a year. And unfortunately, like with some TV shows now, they're more than willing to do that. And I think as popular as Fallout's been, and there is a watchable component to it, even though I get upset with it a bit. I just don't care enough about it to be really pissed. It's just that I'd rather have it like a year from now, like, December, January, like we did this year. And I like how they did the one, they only gave us a couple episodes to dive into it, and then a weekly drop. I just wish they could do that. I mean, it's been successful research shows on Amazon, but we know Prime, and Amazon just don't always make the best business decisions. They're just spending a lot of money on content, claiming it's automatically good.
Mhm.
And I just, I don't want to be that guy that's the big gamer saying, "Oh, you guys don't know how to like appreciate the source material, dude." And I'm not even doing that. The
No.
telling of the story just isn't working for me, and I hope sometimes when you get another season, maybe they go back and address it because of the feedback of fans or the lack of it if they're not watching it. And I think that might have happened in season 2 of Lord of the Rings. I'm not quite sure. Definitely made a difference in Reacher, which is a show you and I like to review here on the Extreme Movie Show. Very popular show.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's not going to fall on deaf ears because it's interesting and fun thinking about what Fallout can be and thinking that it's there and you can watch a show based off of it is really cool. And I still say I think she's the best cast of it, even though it relies on his shoulders a lot. To me, the show really should be about her because she's the vault character. She is who you are when you play a game, except for you and I are selecting males, right? Generation, right?
Yeah.
And so they, to me, they got to let go of Goggins a little bit, even though he does a great job because he's not the main character, and they're forcing that, and that's, they're just taking a bicycle and trying to not write it 100%. It's just as frustrating to watch.
Well, maybe we'll get new writers next season, or maybe the show will not be confirmed. I don't know. I haven't looked to see if it's even confirmed for another season. I imagine it's going to go for another season or two.
You would think so, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's Amazon. If it's drawing a crowd, earlier the ratings bringing in, they're gonna keep going. There's a lot of shows
it looks
I
like it's
don't
all
care
been,
for.
it looks like it has been confirmed, and they're getting ready to
Like I
start
said,
filming.
I mean, there's shows like Law and Order. Law and Order is not entertaining whatsoever to me.
But it's cheap to produce.
But it's still produced, exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is the best show for Fallout fans. If you're a Fallout fan, you're probably like a lot of the nerds, like, actually, it's supposed to be that, like this, and like they're probably more pissed that this show isn't like it. But then again, you look at it as someone for basically, I've never really played the games. I watched my friend play a couple of it, level stuff.
Right.
But I never was really like into the game because I hated the VAT system. You get and there's a probability you can get a critical hit here if you do this. This is, I'm like, I just want to fire the gun and hope for the best. Okay, I'm tired of the freaking VATs. That's the whole point. Not this where what may or may not. It's like, what is this second guessing crap? Either I run away and I live another day, or I shoot and I take a gamble. It's Vegas. But I'm glad that the roaches came back because the roaches were from season 1, the rad roaches. We even got to see them in the twice now in this, because there's the guy who got the original ghoul who got attacked by the rad roach as he was walking by. That's the one that Hank eventually perfected the chip on. But overall, like I said, this was kind of a weak. Yeah, I get it. It's a weak episode. It's for being a season finale. It didn't feel any different than watching the rest of the episodes. It all like felt mushed together,
That's one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No momentum, no sense of building to an end, right?
Yeah.
No blowing off of steam.
And just like the other episodes, there's parts of the episodes I like, and other parts of the episodes like I'm like, okay, that was all right, that's average. I'm looking at my phone. But for the most part, if you're expecting like a top-notch show, this is not the show for you. This is like the really big insult is the fact that Amazon's producing this with all the money. This feels like a Fox show. Fox TV.
Ooh, you're hitting below the belt. I love it.
Kind of feels like that, doesn't it? Like you watch an NBC show or a Fox show, and it's just like it's so low budget, But here's the difference, though. There was a show called Breaking In with Christian Slater. It's all about them, basically like being the experts. They could they'll test your locks for you, and they'll break in, and then they'll fix it for you. Their security system team.
Gotcha.
And that show went for one season, and that was way much more entertaining than this is. So,
this is no Pretty Little Liars. Let's be honest.
Nikita on CW. It was better.
Which is like a second or third version of the original Nikita. Seriously.
There's a movie, and then there was a TV series, and then then there was the 2015 series or 14 series. It was pretty good, but for the most part, this was a snooze fest for the most part. But it's great seeing some of the stuff being put together. The best way to describe it's like watching Halo, which was on Paramount. Which basically when they showed Master Chief in the armor killing things, it was great. Take him out of the armor, it's like, why am I watching this? But yeah, the special effects are good. But most part, I like looking at Ella, whatever her name is.
Ella?
What's her name? Lucy. The character plays Lucy.
Yeah.
Ella Purnell or something like that. I can't remember what it is. I
She
like
looks
watching
like the
her.
character.
She looks actually like the character, Walter Goggins' character with Nogmeat going back in the Mojave Desert. He's going to search out the Enclave. Now he knows that his family is alive. They weren't inside the cryo chamber. So that means they're out there somewhere.
Well, you know how they made spin-off shows for The Walking Dead? If they had set this up right and we met
Right
some
now, for
characters
spinoff
along
with
the
just
way, they
Walter
could do it.
Goggins' character, I would watch that.
But to me, this show would benefit from her, like I say, waking up. Maybe there's a bunch of people in the vault, and we get kind of that. And then we see her walk out, with an opening, and then we see Wasteland, and she just starts walking, right? And then things happen, right? And then, every other week or, every, the episode, you could go to the vault, maybe pick out a character, but like Walter Goggins, for example, maybe she meets him 3 or 4 episodes in, you get intrigued by it, you get word of mouth, a little less is more approach and all that. You could, if it got wildly successful, it could be a spinoff show. There's a lot of ways they could have told the story using the same characters they've already shown us. I think been more effective.
I want to take you back to 2020, during the COVID pandemic stuff. There was a movie that starred had Michael Rooker in it, and Dylan O'Brien. I had Jessica Henwick. And it was basically same story. Dukes are gonna hit. Everybody goes in a bunker. You're forced to live there. One guy decides to leave the bunker, go to the surface, trying to find his girlfriend. That was Love and Monsters. And it had the same, and it was much more entertaining than this was. It had its own like robot stuff too, and it had the giant monsters, like a giant centipede and spiders and all that stuff. It was a lot more entertaining and a lot more fast paced for being a movie. And this is based off a book, comic book a guy did about this guy. Dylan O'Brien's character, along the way, he would basically learn stuff about these monsters and write it down in a journal.
Mm-hmm.
So he could, and because he could survive, and then his goal was to pass that journal around so people could learn how to survive in this new world.
Yeah,
and it was a lot more entertaining than this. This was basically like in that movie, a part of there where they're inside the basically the silo, and the roaches and stuff get in there, and they have to defend themselves against these bugs. It was yeah.
We reviewed a show, I don't know if it was 20 or 21 or 22, maybe it's 23. And we only did the first season of it, and it was Silo with Rebecca Ferguson in there.
You reviewed it by yourself.
That is how you tell a story, like how Fallout is trying to do it with characters. Seriously. If they did everything they did here and structured it the way Silos did, been 100 times better. I'm not saying it has to be serious with that kind of tone like this Silo has, but still, that is just done so much better.
Love and Monsters had the dog in there. He had his best friend. His dog would help him along the way and stuff. And there was a part where they're hiding at a tree because there's a giant mutated monster on the beach there. So they're in the tree. He's holding the dog's mouth. When they're holding the tree, and then until the monster goes by, so they can get away. Like I said, it was man and best friend. There's a boy and his dog.
Automatically sounds interesting than 16 hours of what we've seen and I've already
forgotten. Oh, definitely much better than this.
And what's the key takeaways? Okay, Dogmeat's there, underutilized. She's cute. We want to see more of her. Mm-hmm. Goggins is carrying the weight of the show, which is never a good thing as far as storytelling goes. And what happened to Kyle MacLachlan here? He's supposed to be the big bad guy. What happened to him here at the end, sir?
Well, he went the Tulsa King way.
Out with a whimper.
Yes.
Pathetic. Absolutely.
But that's about it. We're going to for this. We talked the show to death, just like the show's been to death. Boring. If you guys
starting next week, sir.
Well, next week we are still talking about doing maybe some Miami Vice. Check for that either Sunday or Tuesday. We are live on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and then on Sundays we're always live at 7 p.m. Pretty much Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. So just look for that. We'll have it scheduled up there. And thanks for those who are watching the replay and who've been around here just watching, maybe just not commenting. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Have a good night, everybody. Take care.
Later.